How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So I have to ask, there's such a long legacy of Disney Pixar films. Tell me, what are your personal favorites?
For me, I have to say Cars because I feel like that's like the most that I think that has the most nostalgia for me. I mean,
Mhm.
like I when I was even younger than I am now, I mean, I really looked up to Lightning McQueen. I had like a bunch of like die cast cars, and I even
Mhm.
had like this Power Wheels car. It was Lightning McQueen. I wish I still had all that, but I gave it away, unfortunately.
Oh, too bad. What about you, Jack?
Oh man, there's so many. I love Wally. I
Mhm.
love Wally. I love Finding Nemo. Ratatouille. I love The
That's my
Incredible.
favorite.
I don't know. There's so many.
Yeah. Jacob, Cars was actually the movie I took my son to see when he was a year and a half. That was his first movie in the
Oh,
theater, and
nice.
he
Yeah, I
sat.
was born in the same. Yeah, I was born 2006, the same year it came out. So
Yeah.
I remember.
So what is it about Luca? Whoever wants to answer this is to both of you. What is it about Luca that drew you to the project?
For me, I think it was just um, the fact that it was a Pixar film, but I mean, mainly, I guess the whole aspect of friendship, and I think that sets like an amazing like any movie about friendship, anyone can relate to it, and especially this one. I think when people watch it, they'll be able to connect with the characters, and hopefully, it will remind them of their childhood memories.
Yeah, I agree. I think that people are gonna walk out of the theater thinking like, "Wow, I'm so happy to be the person I am," and like, because this movie really it's about self acceptance and being okay with your differences and thinking of them as just you being your unique, born to be self. Um, and that's a really important message, especially now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jacob, tell me about one of the things that I love the most about the film is there's this tremendous chemistry between the two of you in terms of vocal chemistry. Tell me about the recording process. Were you in the same room? Had you rehearsed it in advance? Because it seems like you're just standing right there talking next to each other, and I know a lot of times that isn't the case.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we weren't actually able to meet up, but before, and we never really worked together during the process.
Mm.
But we had just recently met, and we're doing like a lot of interviews together. So it's like nice to, I guess get to know him and everything. But I mean, when I watched the film, our chemistry is just really spot on. Like it's pretty amazing, and I have to give props to the director. The director Enrico did an amazing job on everything, and including our chemistry.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack, do you've obviously been in films like It, so do you find it more challenging to play a character live action or through voiceover, where your voice really character carries the emotion that sometimes you have to carry visually through your face?
Yeah, well, they're two completely different beasts, actually. I mean, they both involve acting and they both involve playing a character. But for one, with animation, I don't have to memorize my lines. It's nice. Um, you get to read it while you're doing it, and that's good. That feels great. And but also, I mean, there is a challenge. I mean, I gesticulate a lot when I act. I tend to move around and like I'm very facial and like physical with how I act. But the challenge is like to convey that through your voice. And I mean, there's been projects before when my character didn't gesticulate. He didn't. It wasn't like that. But um, it's always a challenge in its own right, but it's always fun. It's always so much fun. And I love doing animation. It's a blast.
Yeah. So this question is for the both of you. The term silencio Bruno is used several times throughout the film. And it's kind of quieting that naysaying voice or that fear inside of you, and just going for whatever moment that is, whether it's jumping off a cliff or going into the race. What is something that you would say in your personal lives that you would use that phrase for?
For me, I think this past winter I did a lot of skiing, so I definitely use Silencio Bruno a lot there because I mean, like, skiing's pretty scary. Like, especially when you're in like the Vancouver mountains, big mountains. I actually just went to Whistler too, and there's like some pretty crazy things there. And when you go to Whistler, you have to try those scary things. You don't go to Whistler just to like run on the greens. You got to go to Whistler to do the crazy runs. So I definitely silence Bruno to make myself do those things.
Jack, what about you?
It's kind of just my daily mantra. Honestly, I wake up and I'm just like Silencio Bruno. It's kind of like I'm a crazy, scary schizo, but no. I what I think it is. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, but I do think without thinking. I act without thinking. I'm very impulsive with my decisions, going head first to every decision I make, and it's like that's the way I roll. I mean, like choosing the thing before you have time to figure out a reason why it would be bad. Just like okay, let's do it before we start thinking about how this could be bad, which is a bad thing to do, actually, in retrospect, thinking about it. Like, okay, I'm going to jump off this cliff into the water, but I can't think about it too long because, I don't want to think about breaking my arm because that won't happen. And then just jump. That's how I work. That's how I roll, baby.
That's a lot like Alberto.
Yeah.
So what was the audition process like? Because that really fits both of your personas fit those characters so well. So what was that process like, the audition?
For me, when I first started auditioning, I had no idea. I didn't know a lot about the project. All I knew that it was Pixar. So yeah, further went on. I learned more about it. But also, I was originally supposed to do an Italian accent for this, but they scrapped that idea. So I was doing my regular Canadian accent, but for some words, in Italian, I would have to like pronounce it, in an Italian accent because I'm not about to go like spaghetti like in an American way.
Yeah. What was the question again?
What was your audition process like? Because the character fits your personality so well.
Yeah. Something. It wasn't really much of an audition. It was kind of like I went in, I met Enrico. And we went to the studio in Burbank, and I met Enrico, and then he was like, "Hey, do you mind saying a few of these lines for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I read him, and he's like, "Okay, we'll call you." And I was like, "Okay, great." And that's exactly how it happened.
Excellent. So, last question for you: where do you see Luca and Alberto in 10 years?
I see
Jack, I'll start with you. Oh, go ahead, Jacob.
I see them as very, very powerful businessmen. I see them, at the top of a company. Maybe they work together as buddies in a big Italian company. Maybe they have their own Vespa company.
That's what I was saying. It's a Vespa company. It's a Vespa company that they started, and it's called Signori Vespa.
Yeah.
I think that works. I like that.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much for the time. Best of luck to you. I love the movie, and you're both great in it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Captain.
All right.
Clarence.
Take care.